Welcome to Maryl Today, where we break down topics that matter, mind, heart, and soul, and break down solutions you can use to improve your life or business today. I'm your host, Maryl Celiz Paz, and this week's topic is community. How focusing on helping your community with your work can lead to magical results. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to the show. I'm ecstatic you could join us for a candid chat with my guest today, Carlos Hurtado. Carlos is a Mexican-American filmmaker whose work has amassed over 160 nominations in national and international film festivals and won 58 awards in a short span of 4 years. And he's here to talk to us about the role that community has had in his blossoming career. But first, let's check out some of his work.
¿Cómo estás? What is Hispanic?
Traces back to our great-grandparents.
They came here for a better future.
We come from different parts of the world. I am from Chile and El Salvador.
I'm Mexican. Guatemalan.
I'm Dominican.
I'm Argentinian. I'm Hispanic, and I dance Latina.
We have really, really good food.
I like mango,
Plátanos.
Tamales.
the pupusas. I can eat 4 tacos.
Chimichurri is my favorite.
Hamburgers, too.
All that food needs a celebration. Dia de los Muertos.
Los Reyes Magos.
3 kings today.
I want to be a dance teacher. A firefighter. I want to be a scientist.
Professional soccer player. I love singing.
I like to roller skate.
My dream is a reality.
I can be anything.
Our culture unites us.
Our music is beautiful.
Makes you want to dance all the time.
Hablo inglés.
Y español.
I speak Spanish and English.
I love to draw and paint.
I love dogs.
I'm outgoing.
I'm happy.
This is my heritage.
This is my heritage.
That's me.
Eso soy
That's
yo.
me.
Eso soy yo.
Esta soy yo.
That's me.
That was beautiful. Carlos, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
You've been so busy. I mean, 160 nominations, 58 awards in a short span. Was filmmaking always your passion?
You know what? It wasn't. I mean, when I was a little kid, I always wanted to be a baseball player. That was my biggest dream. I mean, you know, right now the Dodgers are playing, you know, in the playoffs. In 1988, you know, I saw Kirk Gibson hit a home run. And for me, that was a dream. I mean, I practiced, I played 2-3 teams a year, and that was my motivation in life, was to be a baseball player. I mean, I would throw the ball late at night, my neighbors would get upset. And I mean, that's what I discovered, what you really love comes from a passion, comes really deep inside. And that's something that you can't be taught. And then one day, you know, I hurt myself in terms, I broke my arm playing baseball, and then I never really recovered. Not that I was gonna be great, but I always thought I was gonna be great. And I was 18 years old, and I was trying to think, what can I do that I really love? And I don't think I really thought about it. I mean, I just remembered growing up watching these movies like Back to the Future, Goonies.
And love those.
And they weren't the best recordings. I'm not sure you remember, like it used to be from a VHS, a 4-head to a 2-head. I mean, it would be a really bad recording, but that's what we had, and that's what made me dream. And I thought about the thing, that simple thought, that simple idea from these movies actually made me happy. So I think my aspiration from there as a creator, as a filmmaker, or I didn't even think about it like that in that sense, was to give somebody else a dream. The ability to have that ability to see something further down the line that they can't see right now, because to be a director, it wasn't my dream, it just came about.
So when you first thought, okay, so I see these movies and I love them, and maybe this is something that I could do because you know, I'm passionate about, you know, creating an art. Director was not the first thing you thought of? Did you start off as a writer, editor? Was there a different path, or what path?
No, I was a director.
Right away?
Right away. I mean, when I played baseball, I was a pitcher. I've always been in a leadership position, and I love that. And I just thought about it. I mean, I want to create movies. I want to be able to create my own stories. So right away, I knew I wanted to be a director.
How has your Mexican-American heritage?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Were you born here? Or?
No, I was born in Mexico. I was brought over here by, obviously, my parents. I couldn't walk over here. But when I was 6 months old, I mean, as a little kid, I was sick. I had to have like 2 or 3 blood transfusions. So my parents brought me and my older sister over here for reasons, medical reasons, you know, to find a doctor and all that stuff. And,
oh, wow.
And eventually I got cured. They never really found out. They changed the diet, my food, all that stuff. So I was okay, and we had our education here. My older sister right now works for UCLA. She's a CFO, and then my younger sister has her own store for pillows. So, I mean, that's the American dream. Going back to the whole thing about dreaming, was my parents, besides wanting me, you know, to get well, they also thought of a future that they can give us that was bigger. And, you know, I think I get the idea of, you know, just being somebody who can dream, somebody who's passionate, comes from my parents.
Me too. I think that's a big deal. I think, you know, with the Hispanic community, the family plays a big part. You know, I know my family also, they collaborate in my projects, and I know you've mentioned to me that your family has...
They used to collaborate
They
right
used to
now because they
collaborate.
see all the hard work that goes behind it.
Yeah,
Joking
oh,
around,
God. I know.
my dad goes, "You have a crew now. You can do it."
That's right.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, family plays an important role in so many aspects of our lives. How has the whole Mexican American heritage, especially given the you know, social political climate right now, how has that driven, you know, some of the choices you've made in your career?
You know what? It's kind of a hard question for me to answer in terms that I never really thought of it that way. You know, coming up, you know, being raised in the United States, you know, obviously our tradition still, I come from Mexico, so comes from my mom, comes from my dad, but my dad's perspective, in which I really took as a really great way to look at things, is don't look at yourself as one particular thing. Everybody's the same. It's like, you know, when you talk about family, it's a very Hispanic thing. I think that should be an important thing for everybody, American, wherever you come from.
I agree.
So, you know, now that I see it, that now I'm more conscious about it, it does affect me in a way that, you know, I do look for subject matters that are driven by that point to make sure that we're not put in the corner and generalized or put somewhere that, like a stereotype. And I think that's what I'm doing with some of my projects is, you know, with the Nickelodeon thing, you know, it's like, you know, the simple little things. What food do you eat? And one of the girls goes, "I like hamburgers also," because it's not just
Yeah,
that.
that's right.
It's
Yeah,
bringing
yeah.
that aspect that, yeah, we have these traditions that we come about and are part of us that are important. But you also have to see that we are part of a bigger community.
Yeah, we
And I
are a
think-
part of the mainstream.
Exactly.
And for us to, so that there's the, okay, these are the things that make us different, but these are the things that bring us all together as well, these
Exactly.
shared experiences.
Because I think everybody, I mean, shares the same common stuff. I mean, we all love food. We all love, you know, great movies, great novels, all these things. So that's where I, you know, growing up the way I was brought up to thought, and I believe a lot, is we're part of everybody. And, you know, yes, I'm Mexican American. I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of the stuff that I've done within my community. But at the same time, I want to branch out and be able to help out other people, not just, you know, specific to my race, because I think that kind of secludes. And what is part of the problem is that we push away other people because we're not part of their community. I think we need to embrace all those different things.
I agree. Do you've worked with Padres contra el Cáncer,
Yes.
you've done several projects, so, you know, the topic of the episode is community. Is that something that you came about, sort of stumbled upon, or was that a conscious decision to work with or focus on more community projects?
I think it's two parts. I think I stumbled upon it, not expecting that I would be part of that kind of, you know, doing those kind of films. But at the same time, I was always brought up to help people. I mean, I come from a great family, you know, great sisters, great parents who've given me everything in life. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more. So when I came about it, I had done a project in Coachella for Coachella Music Film Festival, and somebody saw that project and they called me up and they wanted me to do a project for Holly Grove. Holly Grove used to be an orphanage. That's where Maryl Monroe used to be, and they told me, can I do a PSA or do a video for the gala to raise money? So I went over there, spent about maybe 4 months, 5 months trying to figure out what they wanted. Do a commercial for them, do a short film for them. And eventually what ended up happening, I just, you know, did this mixture of a documentary and live action about a little girl. And I guess it started from there, from Holly Grove, being able to see the difference that I made in somebody's life, because it's about a girl, you know, telling her life for the first time, that she got raped and everything, and the impact that she had. And for her, when she said it, liberated her. You know, she had this deep down inside of her that she could never talk to any of the psychologists or therapists there. And she lived with it for about 8 years as a secret.
Well, this is what's happening right now with a lot that's coming out from, you know, and people say, why do people wait so long for this sort of thing? But it's very, as you
have to find the right moment.
Yeah.
You can't rush healing, and that's the biggest thing. Sometimes
right.
you got to go through the trauma, you got to go through the pain, and it's unfortunate because you don't want to see people suffer. And, you know, going through Holly Grove and going through this organization that now helps children who have problems, you know, whether it be drugs or parents or all those kind of things, kind of inspired me more to go on to Padres contra Cancer, which is another organization that helps children. Because I think, not that I think, I'm a big believer in helping kids trying to reach a dream. Just knowing, you know, we grew up poor and everything, and just having a dream, having that one small little thing in life can change you. And that one seed can grow one day to be something bigger. But when you have a tough life, I mean, you can't, I don't think you see that seed, and you need that extra push. And I think that's why, you know, I started going towards community-based projects, doing PSAs or whatever I can do it, and what I can do within my talent, and try to help out people that way.
I love that. Well, we're going to take a quick break and be right back with Carlos Hurtado and this awesome conversation on community. Stay tuned.
Encuentra el bosque más cercano en descubreelbosque.org. El bosque, más cerca de lo que crees.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Welcome back to the show with our guest Carlos Hurtado on the topic of community. So Carlos, you also directed a music video for the regional Mexican group Voz de Mando, right?
Yes.
The song name is Soldado Latinoamericano, Latin American Soldier. Tell us the storyline of this song and what drew you to the project.
I think what initially drew me to the project was Voz de Mando had been going out, you know, doing, you know, some public service and just receiving news about what their song meant. It was about dreamers, about helping out people. And then after sitting down with Jorge, the lead singer, and also talking to Maryl Today, which was my publicist, I mean, they presented me the song, they presented me the project, and I fell in love with it. I mean, I did it as a pro bono project also. I didn't get paid for it. And the sense why I did it was because of the love of what the lyrics meant.
And tell us the story.
No, the story, I mean, for the music video, the story is about a kid who has to make a choice about, you know, going out to war and at the same time, you know, leaving his family behind. And it's that whole thing where we talk about, you know, about family, the very strong roots that we have. And I think the song has a very positive message because it is American. Even though you're not leaving your roots behind, you're still embracing this culture that you're part of. And I think that's one of the parts that I really loved about it. And this kid goes out in the music video, you know, fight for his country, still believing all these things. And unfortunately, you know, he dies, but doesn't die without leaving something to make somebody else happy. Because at the very end of the video, you have the little girl, which is his sister, running with the American flag because, you know, when you sacrifice yourself, it doesn't have to, I mean, it's a little bit more deep in terms of the death, but when you sacrifice something for something, you can inspire again. It's coming back to the inspiration of something and building this place that you can have a home. And I think when that kid goes out and fights for his country, he creates a sense of a home. I think it's the best way I can describe it.
I love it. I actually saw the video that you did, and it's beautiful. You tell the story very, very beautifully, and it just
it's
really
easy to visual, right?
Yeah, and it just generates
Yeah.
emotion, and I think it's very timely for the topics that are being discussed right now. You know, in the sort of arena of, I'll say politics, but it's really social topics, right? And even though, you know, come December we can all affect the vote and blah, 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 and
Yeah.
this is all related, I think it's more heart-centered and more about the decisions that, you know, we make ourselves and within our families, and that those can affect the community. So congratulations on the project.
Thank you.
What have been the challenges with focusing on more community projects?
I don't think, you know, I don't think there's challenges. I think it's just a matter of finding the right project. Because I think I'm a big believer, if you're going to do something, you do it 100%. So you really have to believe in that organization, what they're talking about. And luckily, I've been blessed to find these great organizations, or they've come to me, and I love it right away, because it talks about what I want to talk about. It talks about, again, just being you, just being something that can inspire. I mean, like Padres contra Cancer, Parents Against Cancer, I had written the story, and one of my great friends is an ambassador for Padres contra Cancer, so I went to him, said, look, I wrote this story, and I think it'll be great for them. And then I met Elvia, which is the CEO of Padres contra Cancer. She loved it, and it was pretty much a smooth ride from there. I mean, it was a story about, you know, a little kid saying thank you to his father for everything that he has done for him. And I think those are the things I want to do and continue doing. In terms of different medias where I can show it, I mean, it can be a commercial, it can be a music video, because at the end of the day, when you tell a story, it's visual.
Right.
It doesn't matter what media it comes from.
Do you think that it's, you know, I think the reason I wanted to ask you also, you know, about the challenges is I think some people think, well, community work or, you know, working with nonprofits, it's not very lucrative. But do you think, and has this been your experience, that you can do well financially and in other aspects in your career by doing good?
You can. It's like when I started my career. Like I said, I started about 5 years ago. I mean, I'm 38 years old, not that anybody needs to know, but when I was 22, I was nominated for a Stu Academy Award. You know, I had great opportunities to move, you know, my career further. At that point, I decided, you know, to work in the family business. So coming back when I was, what, 34, 35, you know, I started thinking of the projects I wanted to do, and it was like music videos. And then, you know, I stumbled upon what we were talking about, you know, organizations or nonprofit organizations. And when it came about, it was something that I didn't think about twice. And because of that decision, you know, the small little steps from 4 or 5 years ago, you know, doing the project for Holly Grove, then doing another project for Parents Against Cancer, then doing another project for Voz de Mando, all these things unconsciously has led and pushed my career further. But it came always from the heart. So it's led me to getting signed to a manager, to getting, you know, working with Nickelodeon, all those different things. But I think when you take that road, you have to understand, you have to take it from something that's true to yourself, and then everything works out how it's going to be. I mean, there's no set plan. I mean, it could have been I'd done this project, I'd done that, and, you know, make no money, and then my career's nowhere. And so, luckily, you know, it's like it just comes around the way it's supposed to be.
And it has to be authentic, is what
exactly.
saying,
That's
right?
a better word.
I think the result.
It shows in your work.
It does show in your work, right? I think we can all perceive it too when something is not done for the right reasons or genuinely.
Exactly.
And in your case, it's led to, you know, Nickelodeon was something that came about from that. And
yeah, it was working with the production company that, that did the animation for Holly Grove. That was 4 or 5 years ago. And then, you know, I get an email, in April to do this project. Never expected, just came out of the blue. And it's just a path of little stepping stones that you set for yourself in your career, and being authentic, also what you want to do.
And then you've also got a project with Dreamers right now, yes?
I have a project right now with Andy Garcia from Soleros. He's actually also the lead singer for Carlos Santana, and it's a project, you know, exclusive about Dreamers. We already shot down in TJ for, I think it's Angels. I forgot the organization's name, I'm terrible with that. But it's a great organization that shelters people who have tried to cross the border, and they give them water, they give them a place to stay and everything. So we're filming that part, and then we're filming another part here in the United States. And the whole idea behind the video is that you see somebody who's successful. It can be a doctor, it can be a musician, and you see the dreamer over here. I think at the end of the day, is to inspire. I think a smile is a very contagious thing. And that's the idea, is that these people are smiling. And I think that brings life. I mean, that's part of life, is that big smile. And the idea behind the video is, it doesn't have to be about Mexicans. It doesn't have to be about anybody, because I think everybody has been a dreamer. I mean, you can be from Europe, you can be from Africa. You come over here for a dream. I think sometimes right now, politically, what's going on, and I don't get involved in politics, but I think in general, there's nothing wrong with trying to aspire to be something. I mean, yes, there's the legal parts of it, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're a human being. I mean, you can't treat somebody wrong for any reason just because of that.
That's true. Well, still to come, my conclusions on the topic and conversation, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
I don't remember how it started.
Oh boy.
our back and forth, it always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Cuando estaba en crianza temporal, nunca sabía cuándo me iba a tener que mudar, así que siempre tenía mi maleta lista. Y un día me adoptaron. Mis nuevos padres me abrieron sus corazones y su hogar. Ellos me cocinan mi desayuno favorito todas las mañanas. Mis padres me llevan a viajes que jamás pensé podría ir. Me dieron un hogar y una mejor excusa para usar esa maleta. Mis padres no son perfectos, pero son perfectos para mí.
Here's what I want to leave you with. There's a special magic in matching passion to purpose. And I'm a big advocate of do what you love, and an even bigger advocate of help others while you do what you love. So my guest today has proven that joy and service are not mutually exclusive, and in fact can lead to even greater opportunities to do work that you never even dreamed of doing. My hope for you today is that you find a way to give back to your community while also following your dreams and doing what you love doing. It is entirely possible to wake up and be thrilled to go to work, not just because you really enjoy it, but because you know that what you contribute will serve others. I promise you, the meaning and fulfillment you will receive in return will be well worth it. I'd like to thank my guest, Carlos Hurtado, for being here with us today and talking community. Thank you to my wonderful sponsors and my amazing crew as always, and all my gratitude to you, our viewers, for joining us today. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Maryl Tweets and Facebook and Insta at Maryl Celiz Paz for more insights and inspiration. Until next time, I'm Maryl Celiz Paz, wishing you and yours paz, amor y luz.